I'm very, very, very passionate about what NGOs do and the role they play in the society. And when Carol, Dr. Opinde reached out to me and said, we'd like to invite you to be a keynote speaker. What do you think about it? And I checked what the NGO Whisperer does, and I'm like, oh, yes, now this fits into what I believe in and into what I would want to be part of. And one of the reasons why I accepted to be part of this event is because of what the roles of NGOs have had in my life. I was brought up like in the first few years of my life in a children's home run by the Salvation Army. We know it's not an NGO, it's a charitable organization. But at the same time, you get to understand as a small child that rather when you grow older, you realize what it means when people put your needs in front of other things to ensure that you have a better life, you know. And later, as I grew, I went and joined my mom in one of the biggest slums in Kenya, Badare. And when I was there, I was able to see again the role of NGOs in uplifting people's lives in the slums. For example, there is the MAISA, that is Madare Youth Sports Association, where they would engage the young boys in sports. Like you'd see the boy from the hood going to Norway to play football. I would see that there was Blue House, an NGO that used to help people with TB and HIV-related complications. And, you know, so I saw NGOs play great roles in my life. I was educated through high school by NGOs, that is Kenya KPAY, that is Kenya Professional Association of Women in Agriculture and Environment, and then Youth Sponsorship Program, and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is that if it weren't for NGOs, I do not think I'd be where I am today. You know, and these NGOs were run by leaders. These NGOs were run by people who thought, you know what, there's a social need here. We need to do something. And as I finished school, I worked with several NGOs. I have even some of the projects I've worked on as a mathematician or as a researcher. Some of them included working with NGOs so that we can help the livelihood of the people in the informal sectors, in the rural areas, and so forth. One of the examples is Slum Dwellers International, when we were looking at trying to improve the livelihood, or rather the housing needs of the people in Kuru slums, that is in Nairobi, etc. So yes, to cover all that, I think explains why this particular session, these particular trainings are very important, because as leaders, we have to ask ourselves, what is it we want to do, you know? And my talk today, like what I would want us to do is, you have heard what you're going to be trained on. You have heard what the faculty has in plan for you, what they want to do for you, the skills they want to give you, the exposure they want to give you. I want to prod you into self-reflection. Yeah, you're joining this program. You applied to join this program. Why? You know, so that is the first question I'd like to ask yourself. Why am I joining this program as an NGO leader? Second is, ask yourself, what is the role of my NGO? What do we really do? What are the societal needs are we going to meet? Are we really meeting them? And what is not making us meet them? You know, and when you ask those questions, then this particular training will be more valuable to you, to not just you as a leader, but to other stakeholders. Like it could be your team members, it could be the people on the ground, it could be your partners, it could be the people you're engaging with. Yeah. So when we talk about, like, I want to believe by the time you're applying to join this program, or by the time you think of joining any of the master classes program, there are only two, from where I'm seated, there could be two motivating factors: individual or organizational. So let's start from an individual perspective. I want again to sit down with your thoughts or with your pen later and write down why you're joining. Is it because you want to network? What kind of networks are you seeking? Yeah. And why do you need these networks? Because sometimes when we look at networking, like some of the times you want to do something and you're not able because you're quote unquote powerless in the process because the systems could be a bit bigger than what you might need more stakeholders. So the question is, why exactly do you need to network? And what is the role of the people that you're going to network with be in helping you achieve your NGO's mandate? So that's personal. Do you need to network and why? Yeah. The second one we're looking at, do you need collaboration opportunities? Sometimes you could be having or leading this particular NGO, but you're thinking, I'd like my NGO to play a bigger part, to be seated at the table when, for instance, policies have been made. Let's look at, for example, education sector. Maybe your NGO deals with education, training, or whatever. And you're thinking, I want to be part of a policymaker when we are talking about education bills and such. So you're thinking to elevate the position of my NGO, to elevate the visibility. I would want to be part of the people invited to participate in public participation forums. So when you're thinking about collaboration is again, why do you want to collaborate with others? Why do you want to collaborate with other organizations? For what purpose? To elevate your NGO, to elevate yourself. Why? Yeah. The third thing is you could be joining this because you're feeling like you're in an effective leader. You're not able to manage your team. They're not listening to you, or you keep on having training after training, but they are not effective. I think, what is it I'm doing wrong? So this kind of master classes programs could offer that. Again, the question is, when you sit down with yourself, you have to ask, is it a me problem that my team is not effective? Or is it a culture problem? So when you're trying to evaluate this, as you go through the sessions, as you go through the trainings, you'll be able to better understand where your leadership skills lack. And some of us could be joining this kind of masterclasses because we want to plan for succession. You're thinking, I'm old. I started this out of passion. I really believe in it. But at the same time, I'm old, or I want to retire, or I want to pursue other things. The thing is, how do I identify the right people to succeed with? So you're thinking about succession. You want to know, how do I develop my team so that they are able to step in my shoes when I leave? Again, this kind of masterclasses should offer such insights. So again, it comes to, what kind of succession plans are you looking into? Do you want is the NGO a family thing? So that you would want maybe to think of, how do I encourage my sons or whoever it is to join the business or the organization running? Or are you willing to open it up to other people, etc.? You know what you know, yeah? You're the best that understands your organizational structure. Now, sometimes you can just join because we want to learn leadership and communication skills. You don't want to be that voice who does not know what is happening, or, like we say that the top leadership has only, they only understand problems to a very little percentage. It is the people on the ground that understand what the real problems are. So when you join this particular forum, or you join this particular fellowship or training, the question is, why are you joining? So from an individual perspective, you have other things. Is it that you're a poor communicator? Would you like to improve your communication skills? Are you stressed? Are you feeling like sometimes when you think about going to the office, you're thinking, oh God, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. Oh, these guys are frustrating me. Yeah. Now that's why now you can see that from the previous presenters, they are going even to look into that. How do you handle burnout? How do you handle communication? How do you handle mental issues, stress, and so forth as a leader? Because we all need a helping hand. Yeah. And I said also, the second objective why someone would join such a training or such a fellowship is organizational interest. Some of us are here because we are looking at, we don't have financing, we are trying to find funding, and we are struggling. So again, the question, and I'm so happy when I heard that some of the things that have been covered in the 6-month program is actually how to write grants, how to come up with funding proposals, and so forth. So the thing is, you do know as a leader, you might not be able to do all this, yeah? So if you're simply interested in funding, then as you learn, as you go through the master classes, I would encourage you to seek out the faculty members undertaking this program and say, yes, I want to learn more, but is there a way we can interact further after this fellowship, after these 6 months, and then probably you can train a team or two and so forth, collaboration, yeah? Sometimes you could be here because your organization has, let me say, legal and compliance issues. You're thinking, okay, we are running an NGO. It's been really doing well. But right now, we have new rules that are coming in our country. We have new regulatory issues that I'm struggling to deal with. Like now, for instance, if you're looking at a particular sector, and now there is an introduction of new taxations, how does it affect your organization? How does it affect your NGO? If you're looking at a regime that says, now we want to tax NGOs, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with legal compliance? Yeah. So those are one of the things you could be thinking, I want to know, you know? And sometimes also one of the issues that leaders could be dealing with is that your NGO is creating what we call dependency syndrome. Yeah. In that you're in a community, you're trying to empower them, you're trying to scale them, but at the same time, the thing is, you've gotten too entrenched to the community. You have stopped empowering them. They become dependent on you. So that if you were to pull, they would not be able, they cannot be practice self-advocacy. They're not empowered. So that's one of the things you could be dealing with right now as an NGO, wherever you're coming from. So again, you have to ask yourself, how do I reduce dependency? Yeah. And sometimes the opposite of that is averseness. Like the community already, they're thinking, I don't feel this NGO. They are here to make money. They don't care about me. Again, how do you deal with that? How do you pull this closer? How do you try to make sure that it's a whole team, it's a whole circle of people with purpose let me say, objectives and so forth, you know? So how do you create a balanced situation where there is no aversion or distrust, or there is no complete dependency on you, like dependency syndrome? So again, those are things or challenges that some NGOs could be facing. Some of the NGOs, some of our leaders could be dealing with what we call like now you feel like there is poor program design and implementation. You wake up in the morning, you are so passionate of what you want to do. You know what you want to do. Your NGO has clear structures and objectives and aims of what they want to achieve. But with all this light and excitement in your hands, you're feeling, I don't know how to design this. I don't know how to implement this. I've been struggling with this. So why are you struggling with it? What are the pains? So this kind of masterclass programs will be able to shed light to program implementation, design and implementation. Why is your NGO struggling? Yeah, with implementing the programs which you know will be helpful to the society around you. Of course, there is limited expertise and capacity. You don't have enough people working for you, or of course, maybe it could be a funding issue, but you're thinking, okay, I have 3 people. How do I make them empowered? How do I increase their capacity? How do I skill them? You know, so as a leader, these are the headaches that will be in your head. You're thinking, okay, I need to work on this. So again, these are the things that can be covered in such kind of masterclasses programs. And the other thing I believe that could drive you as a leader to join such a program could be inadequate monitoring and evaluation. You're not able to, you feel like you're unable to measure, to monitor, to evaluate the impact you have on the society. Again, there are master classes run by the NGO Whisperers that can help you. So as you start this journey, as you start this learning, sit down with yourself and ask yourself as a leader, what kind of challenges is my organization facing? And what challenges am I facing also as a person? And when you do that, when you sit down with yourself, with your thoughts, then this kind of training will make a lot of sense and will add a lot of value to you. Yeah. So in conclusion, I have 4 things to say. One, we know that when we light up a flame, yeah, just think of you somewhere in Africa in the night, you with your family or whatever, and you light up a flame and it's very cold, and all of you put up your arm or your hands so that you're warmed by the fire. So we say that a flame gives off its heat without minding how many hands it's warming. You know, it could be one set of arms, it could be 50 sets of arms. Who knows? But it just burns and gives heat. So you've got this. What I want to encourage you is that you're not, whatever your NGO does as a leader, what you're doing is not in vain. You are that flame. You are there simply giving you heat and without minding how many people you're touching. The thing is, whether it is one person whose life you change, whether it's a million people lives you change, it does not take away from your heat, you know. So whatever you're doing, you're not doing in vain. And you looking into taking up this kind of training, it's an act of courage and hope. You feel, as Dr. Pinde said, you feel that your cup is not full. You feel that there are some aspects that can be filled. And therefore you take a step of courage and say, you know what, I want to sign up for this because I want to be better. You know, so you feel, so what I want to say is that what you do is not in vain. And you taking up this kind of training is a step in the right direction. That is one. Two, I want to encourage you that no one has everything figured out. Like no one is perfect. No organization is run perfectly. Even if they make billions of profits and everything, they do not have all it figured out. So thing is, when you start this journey, you know that you're every leader you meet, every person you meet, even your faculty members, in as much as maybe it's the guy talking about communication skills, they are not 100% perfect in communication skills. So it does not mean you're less by joining these kind of programs. It actually means that you come in together as leaders and you say, we don't have everything figured out, but we want to make it better. Yeah. Third is that what we know is that like look at our body, no single organ works in isolation. You know, we all need each other. You know, so as you start this journey, learn about your fellow people, like your fellow colleagues in the program. Learn what the NGOs do. Listen, learn. So the more you learn, the more you'll be able to understand what they do, and you can create avenues of network and collaboration and make your NGO better. Finally, a covered lamp, this is what we said, a covered lamp doesn't benefit anyone. Like, there's no point of having a lamp at night and then you cover it in a blanket. Why are you doing that? So when you learn whatever you're going to learn after these 6 months, go out and spread, quote unquote, the gospel. It will be the gospel of what you've been trained. It will be you spreading what the information and the knowledge you have. And of course, please tell people, tell everyone, talk about the NGO Whisperers Forum. Thank you guys, and for the compliment of inviting me and for your attention.